Black Lives Matter movement started a few weeks ago with the horrific death of George Floyd by a police officer. The video that went viral spiked protests around the world, across the world. So we're going to discuss this today and how we can improve the systematic racism, because, you know, the protest is not just about George Floyd's death or how he was killed or just about police brutality. It's deeper than that, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. So the Black Lives Matter movement, I think everybody recognises it started quite a while back and then it died out. And obviously, like with the death of George Floyd, it's kind of like resurfaced. And then with all the protests that's going on, so it's kind of like, personally for me, I feel like it's given me a platform to, you know, to speak out and speak up about, you know, the things that I found wrong, especially like the racism that, you know, you spend so much time suppressing. So now all of a sudden, with everybody else around the world sort of, you know, speaking out about this and saying that this is wrong, I kind of feel like, oh wow, like this is my time to speak out as well. So it's not just about George Floyd, like you said. It's bigger than that now. It's given a platform for Black people, you know, to speak out about the wrong that's been done to them. You know, the wrongs of the past, the wrong that's still carrying on now. You know, in the system, in our social lives. So it's everywhere, really. So it's an important subject to talk about.
Some people don't really understand the whole meaning behind the Black Lives Matter issue. You know, we have obviously people say, oh, it's not just Black Lives Matter, it's all lives matter. So what's the difference? Let's try and kind of get this out there and explain.
Well, I don't understand why people are taking offense when we say Black Lives Matter. I know that all lives matter. I know your lives matter. I know my mom's lives matter. I know my friends' lives matter. My Asian friends' lives matter. Everybody that I love, even the people that I don't know, all their lives matters. But at the moment, what people need to try to understand is that Black people feel targeted. Black people feel like they are not given the opportunity to, you know, to be themselves, to excel. So that's why right now screaming Black Lives Matter is because we don't feel like our lives matter. Because every time, sometimes, you know, you go to work, you feel like you're looked at differently, you're treated differently compared to your other peer. So in that case, who's mattering more? It's not my life. So we're not saying that other lives don't matter. But if you're really saying all lives matter,
then why are we treated differently?
Why are we treated differently? You know what I mean? So why are Black people targeted? Why are police killing Black men? You know what I mean? So it's like, you're saying all lives matter. And I agree with you. I 100% agree with you. So if all lives matter, where's my life in the scale compared to your life? You see what I mean? So people need to try and understand that difference. We're not saying that someone else's life don't matter. Everybody's lives matters. You know what? Everybody's life should matter. There shouldn't even be a difference because we're all human. You know, I'm alive, you're alive, therefore we all matter. But you know, Black lives, we're screaming Black Lives Matter because we feel like things have been put in place in society. It just, you know, it's compressing that thing about our life mattering. So therefore, something needs to be done about it. So we are going to scream Black Lives Matters. So all lives can't matter until Black Lives Matter.
So people have been suffering, like experiencing a lot of oppression and negativity towards them just because of the skin of their color. You know, but I've not personally experienced that, and I've been lucky so far, but I'm not going to dismiss other people's experience. I've had so many friends and people I know who have spoken about their experiences in the workplace, you know, not being able to make a complaint because they don't feel like that they're going to be heard, or sometimes they do make a complaint about, you know, being mistreated or treated differently or discriminated against in the workplace, but nothing ever resulting from their complaint, because it's just like, you're just making noise, or being told that why you're making noise, or you should be grateful that at least you've got a job. That kind of behavior, it's happened for so many people. So people need to understand that it's not just about the police brutality, but also, the things people experience on a daily basis. I want to talk about, during the protest, there was some looting going on, and which really, for me, from my point of view, it kind of took away the whole point of, protesting. It was kind of giving a reason, or for people to look at us and say, oh, see what they're like. This is black people. They'll complain and then they'll go and destroy things. And, that horrible negative stereotype that I hate, that is always portrayed on black people. So when, people wanted to go out and protest peacefully and try to explain that they're suffering, you have this group of black people who are doing exactly what we get discriminated at or stereotyped or grouped as. What do you think?
In regards to looting, I personally condemn the looting, because at the end of the day, we are looting the things that we need. Like, we still need the shops, we still need these businesses. So, the economy gotta run. And when the economy is running, we are all going to benefit in some way or another, even though we are not all benefiting equally, but we are all eating from that economy. We are all surviving from that economy. So I condemn the looting. But I can only understand why some people are going out to loot. Like, when something happens to you personally, like, we can go through the same situation, but how I deal with it might not be necessarily the same way you react. So I do condemn the looting. I don't think it's right. We are here to build. We are not here to destroy, because when we destroy, it's taking our energy away that we could be using to build and make something better. You know absolutely. What I mean? So it is taking our energy away at the end of the day. And so I always feel like we need to focus our energy on building things. We still need to build. But I do understand why some people are reacting the way they are reacting. If you've been, discriminated just because of the way you look, and, if you feel like you've missed out in life, at some point you are going to get angry. You might control it for some times, but then at some point it just feels like, do you know what, I am tired. And
just going to go crazy.
I'm just going to go crazy. So it's, I wish we could say, I don't like the way they've reacted. There are better ways to react, but who am I to say to them that do not react that way? I want them not to react that way, because at the end of the day, looting is not helping our community, is not helping our image, is not helping us, the people, the people that went out to protest, who were trying to fight for a good cause. It's not helping our case. But the only thing that I can do is understand why they're doing that, because like I said, we all react differently, but that shouldn't be the way we should go about this, because like you said, it is only painting another negative image, and it's making it a lot harder for us to get a good message. And the protests that started happening in the UK, I read on a newspaper, and it was written that the people that went out, doing all this looting and stuff like that, and vandalizing things, that took away the cause. And I was just like, it's only the media that will only focus on the negative side, because the people that done this wrong thing, it was only a group of them. It's only a handful of them. It's only literally a small amount of people. So I still think that people should concentrate on the amount of people that took the time out, that felt like they needed to make their voices heard. So we should focus on that positive message. Let's not be too quick and hold on too much on those people who will want to destroy it. At the end of the day, within a community, we always have people that wants to build and people that wants to destroy. Some people will be for the agenda of building. Unfortunately, some people might not be for that. So that is just the way it is.
And with the thing with that as well, I think people, the ones who went a bit crazy and used a bit of violence and stuff, gave the opportunity for proper thugs. The people who were out there, it's not about the protest. It just wasn't. It was just an opportunity for them to, be reckless like they always are anyway. And that was my worry, with that. I'm going to quickly play a video of an American lady. Let's just have a look at this video.
It's free reign. There's nobody after checkout. But this nigga just pulled a gun out on not just me, but 5 other black females. And y'all sitting up here really pretending like y'all did this shit over Black lives. A black man who looks like me, who should be out there protecting me, just pulled a gun out on me and 5 other sisters. So y'all tell me, keep lying to yourself, talking about this was about Black lives. Just pulled a gun out on me because I'm out here trying to clean up what's mine. Y'all so pro-black that y'all anti-black. Ain't nobody gonna say nothing about that, right? That's what I worry about. When the police came here, they ain't pull out no gun on me. But my brother did. Just pulled out a gun on us. Because we're trying to stop people from coming in the parking lot. We're trying to stop people from coming in the parking lot and creating more garbage. And this man just pulled a gun out on me and 5 other females. So now I'm in my car and I'm finna go home because at this end of the day I feel hopeless and there's nothing that I can do. I'm picking up garbage and here goes some old black folks throwing some shit on the ground. Coming in the store, taking stuff and not helping, not asking who needs something. Pulled the gun out on me like I'm trash. You supposed to be out here protecting us. That's what y'all supposed to be doing, but you pulled a gun out on me. You pulled the gun out on me. That's what you did. You stood there. And you pulled the gun out. And y'all out here worried about these police officers. Everybody is against us, including us. Out here trying to help. And pulled a gun out on me. Like I'm nobody. Pulled the gun out on me like I'm nobody. Because I'm out here trying to clean up what's mine. I swear to God, I love y'all, but y'all so wrong. And ain't nobody gonna talk about it. We gonna keep crying about these police officers and then turn around and kill each other. He pulled the gun out on me and other sisters because I...
So, as you can see, because, obviously others are saying, what about black on black crime? And this is one example, during protests. It happened mainly in America. There was also an elderly police officer, a black man who was retired, and he was killed during the protest by Black Lives Matter protesters. They were looting and doing all this stuff, and he was trying to stop, doing his job, even though he has retired, and he was shot dead. So it's like, how can you, come out and say that you're protesting for Black lives or violence against Black people, police brutality and whatnot, and then turn around and kill your own people? Like, not even think twice about this.
Well, that video was just, it was quite much to watch, and it's really unfortunate, really, that such thing is happening, because, like I said at the beginning, the protest coming out, personally for me, it gave me a voice to speak out. I even started reflecting back to high school, the times that I felt that I couldn't even go to class because of how people would look at me because of my hair. So, for me, it just gave me a platform to reflect and have these discussions, and it's also an opportunity to heal. But it's really sad because I feel like, the Black Lives Matter movement right now is needed. Unfortunately, we're in 2020, but, the rights that we thought we had, or we thought we sort of earn now, or, it's not there. It's evident that it's not there and it's not been applied. So the disunity is really...
It's bad.
A shame.
It's
honestly such such a shame. It's a shame.
We can't work out, like, I think as Black people, we have to take responsibility and think about these things, or whatever you're doing, you know that it's not going to just affect you as a person, but it will affect everybody else in the community one way or another. You know, I always speak about the portrayal of Black people in the media. I think the media plays quite a big part, you know, in portraying this negative stereotype. And, you know, whether it's music or film, you know, if the music is not about, you know, with the rap music and garage and gangs and whatnot, if it's not about gangs and killing each other and making it look cool, and for whatever reason it appeals to young people, you know, I think it gives already that you're young and you're listening today. It's glorifying that kind of negative stereotype, and they go out there and that's what they want to be because it's all they see. And also in films, that's also, if you're Black, you're bad. You know, with women, you know, we have the colorism thing happening in films. You know, the darker a woman is, the you know, if she's bad, if she's the villain. So the lighter skin, she's the nice feminine, the princess, the pretty one. So it's this constant negative stereotype that the media, you know, all they want to do is just reflect or portray Black people as bad. The only way we ever portray Black people in a good way is when they're either sportsmen or women. You know, the only good thing, and I think that limits our ability, because, you know, young children grow up thinking like, unless you're a superstar, some sort of superstar, then there is no future for you. There is nothing else you can do. You were telling me about when you're in school, in college, and wanted to go to university. That's only like in 2012, so 8 years ago. Beginning of year 13, my last year in college, I wanted to apply for university. So I done well in year 12 in my first year of AS level. That's how it was back then. So I got myself 1 A and 3 Bs. So I felt really proud of myself. Of you know, it was a big achievement. You know, it is good grades and everything.
Exactly. You know, coming from GCSEs, you know, language still a bit, because, you know, French speakers, you come in the country, you need to learn English. You know, just about getting the right GCSEs and then to go to A levels, you know, to ace it like that. I was so proud of myself. You know, like A 3 Bs, I was like, I can do anything. And so with that results, I was aiming to only apply for Russell Group's universities, and so my form tutor then, we had to go and speak to them and,
like
and
let them
know you know, just some advice on what do you think I would apply for this and stuff. So I went up to him and, you know, my intention was to apply for Uni of Manchester, Durham, Sheffield, you know, all those top universities in the UK, because why not? I've got the grades for it. I can apply.
Absolutely.
And so I went to speak to them and I told them about these universities. And the first thing, his first comment was like, do you even know where these universities are? I was a bit taken back, because why did I organise open days? Is it not?
You would have at least done a research. You wouldn't just choose, we'll just go to this one.
Exactly.
You know? It was something that obviously you've done a good amount of research. And
that's the reason how I found out there was Russell Group University. I knew then I was living in London, so I knew it was a distance. I know Manchester I knew it wasn't in South. I know those universities were quite out. But my options really was to go to the best universities. And I know there was some universities in London that were good, like LSE, that was one of the universities I was looking at. But most of the one that I really wanted, I wanted to venture out, go somewhere different, you know, explore and, you know, and grow up sort of. And then, you know, he just sort of came back to me with, do you even know where they are? I was a bit like, well, no, but I'm going to go to open days, you know, check it out. But I ended up moving out that form. But from that day on, I just sort of told him, I am going to go to Russell Group University, and there's nothing you can do, you know, to stop me. Because it was like, why can't I do it? Because he knew my grade.
Yeah.
And for the one that I got A on, it was like out of 200, because most of our exams was out of 100. So out of the 200 of both the assessment I did, I got like 190, and I was on top of my class.
Wow.
You know, and then my own, you know, my own teacher of that lesson, politics, he was really proud of me. He was waving the flag for me.
Yeah.
And then my tutor, you're the one supposed to support me. You're telling me that you know, do you even know where these universities are? It's like,
it's a well-known case, you know, here in the UK, where young black people are not encouraged or supported by their teachers in school or career advisors, whatever, you know. I've heard so many times stories of young people saying, you know, I want to do this or I want to be that. You know, if it's nothing to do with sports or music or drama or whatever, then they're discouraged. They're like, oh, but you can't do that, you know, or you're not going to succeed. Yeah. And, you know, that kind of, why would you even bring that up? Yeah. Why would you put down, you're already setting a negative path for this young person who has so much inspiration, you know. And other thing, we don't know many black people, black faces, you know, who have contributed to the country in different ways that is not music or entertainment or whatever, you know. Like we were talking earlier, you know, politics, science, they are out there, but they're just not spoken about. No, nobody really talks about.
I don't know much. I can't even get to 5.
No, I don't know much neither.
I can't even get to 5. I think I only know about Bernie Grant's. Well, it's recent. That's it. I'm stuck only in 2. But you know, if you ask me how many, you know, white politicians, I will list them all for you.
Exactly.
You know, the list goes on because I know so many. Even though I study history and I chose history for my GCSE options. There's only, you know, you learn about Martin Luther King and the civil rights, but yes, okay, that's the, you know, the popular history of black people, but it's not every black people can relate to that. So that's the USA. But we also live in England. I'm sure there's a story, you know, when England became, you know, a multicultural society.
Absolutely, I'm sure you can find
people that contributed to that, but I only know, like I said, I only know Bernie Grant. I can't list someone else that contributed just because I wasn't taught in school. So now I need to go out of my way to learn all these things. So it's...
I mean, many, you know, for example, like black figures who contributed to science, for example. I know a lot of them are American, like you say, but we can't really relate because it's all the way in the USA. We want something a bit more local, which I'm sure we can find, or we find, you know,
that's my homework.
But, you know, we need to speak more and educate young people more about these specific, so they can know that there are other things out there they can do. You know, we're not just not that I'm disregarding, you know, the good, successful football players, boxers and singers that we have, that all contributes to, you know, our kind of liberation and celebrating our culture. But, you know, we shouldn't be limited to that. I also think that studying the history of Africa before colonialism is such an important thing, not just for us here, you know, in the UK, but I think also in Africa, because we've been stripped down so much of our own history that even ourselves, we don't know much about it, you know. You know, and the idea that black people didn't know anything until the Europeans arrived is such a deep-rooted issue that it annoys me. For me, it took me, you know, for me to become an adult and really start looking for our history, because it didn't make sense for me. I said, we existed before colonialism. Black people, Africans were there before colonialism. I'm pretty sure we had our own structures, our own cultures, the way we treated people, how we lived in the community, all these things. But it was all stripped off. It's all been covered, and, you know, we've gone so far now to start tracing back, because things from history were either robbed or destroyed. It would be hard to kind of trace back that history. But I think if we start teaching children in schools part of the African history, it should definitely be part of the curriculum in our schools. It will eliminate this belief that we never contributed to anything in the world, or
definitely. Like what you said about the curriculum and education, I 100% support that. Working in school myself.
Yeah, you're a teacher. By the way, she's a teacher.
It's like it's so important, because every young person goes through education. We all, education is at the heart of our society.
Yeah.
So if it is in our education, it will remove a lot of this, discrimination and just
prejudice.
Yeah, prejudice. Just this blank mindset of not knowing. I didn't know, and it's quite shameful sometimes. Especially right now where we are encouraging education. Like a friend of mine might ask from a different ethnic group, might ask me something, and I can't give them an answer because myself, I don't know. So it's like I spent all these years going through education only to come out uneducated, only to feel like, what's the point of having this degree when, I don't even know, I don't even know half of me. I can't even tell you that. So I know Congo was part of, the Kingdom of Congo. Yeah. But that's how far I know the history about Congo.
Yeah.
So how do I know so much about the structure of the UK, the structure of, the World War II, what happened in the World War I, and I don't even know about Congo.
Yeah.
So
exactly,
it's like, how do we go through this, there's so many years of education only to have people who are still uneducated, who still thinks that it's right to discriminate against someone because of the skin color.
Yeah.
That is there's something wrong there. There's some ignorance in there. You know what I mean? So it has to, we have to embed it in our education system.
Yeah, I mean, when you get someone from a different race, say a white person saying, but you speak so well. Oh, how come you're so intelligent? It's like, what is that supposed to mean?
I'm human too. I have a brain.
Exactly.
The structure of my body. I know we do look different, but what you have, I've got too.
Yeah,
so
you can.
I can be intelligent too. Like I do get that. But you're well spoken.
Yeah.
Am I meant to say thank you? How am I meant to speak?
Yeah.
So it's like, I have this thing which annoys me. So obviously, my parents coming here and, then speaking multiple languages, like over 4 or 5.
Yeah.
So their accent obviously does not sound like us who, come here at such a young age, and spend time with the locals. So therefore, we sound like we're local.
Yeah.
And so if my mom will speak, she'll speak English, they'll say something like, she sounds like she's singing. And then it's like, so, and then when I speak, as a local, and you're telling me that you're so well spoken, so what do you actually want from us? So when we speak with our own African accent, or with our own dialects and stuff like that, we still sound wrong to your ears. And then when we speak like yourselves,
it's a surprise.
It's a surprise. So there's no win in this.
Yeah.
Why are we fighting about how people speak? If you're from the south, you will sound different. If you're from the north, you will sound different. So why is it when us black people speak, it's become a big deal? Why is it a big deal?
Yeah.
No.
It's just understanding, educating people about all these things, and it's just gonna take time. I don't know if the curriculum here will ever change. I actually told myself once, if I was to be a teacher, I have considering I would put so much pressure into the government to teach young people, children, about the history of Africa before.
Just to comment on that one is like, depression has been going on for years. And me
Wow.
being a teacher up here in the Northwest, I can say that I go into a school and there's over 800 people in a secondary school, and you're the only black staff. How does that happen?
Yeah.
Like with, you know, together in a building, so you might have like over, you know, 20, 30 staff, you know, cleaners,
There's all-
dinner ladies, all of this, and you are the only person that looks like you. Do you know, even though you don't want to pressurize yourself because you're saying at the end of the day, this is my job, but then you were still treated differently. You were still looked at as if you are now the spokesperson of a whole race.
Yeah.
But let alone within the black community, they're so different. There's like black Caribbean, black African, and then if you come into the African, there's Nigerian, Ghanaian, Congolese, Somalian, Kenyan.
You know what? I've had an experience with. I went to a meeting. You know, they invited, because I work in a charity, and they invited different charity organization and stuff, and there was police as well.
Yeah.
And I just happened to sit at the same table where all the police people were sat. And so a guy was like, "Oh, so where are you from?" And I said, "Oh, I'm from Congo. I'm originally from Congo." It was like, "Oh yeah, I like jerk chicken. I like jerk chicken." He started talking about like Caribbean food, and his boss, who was obviously a bit more educated, you know, not as ignorant, he was like, you can tell he was just so embarrassed. And I said, "Oh, that's nice, but I'm Congolese." And he was still, the jerk chicken is very good, very, you know, it's that. And then when he left, the boss, you know, who was the head of police or whatever he was, I can't remember, he just bent over and said, "I apologize for my colleague. He's a bit ignorant. I understand you're from a different country. You're not Jamaican or you're not Caribbean. So I'm really, really sorry." And I was like, "It's okay," you know.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. People not quite understanding, you know, different countries and
They
you know,
just
the
see black
different
as one.
as one. Yeah, and that's what happened when it's bad. It's all black.
It's all
Instead
black.
of understanding, no, you know, it's not all black,
Yeah.
but there is a number, like in any other community. There've been pressure to remove the statues of slave owners and stuff. So, what do you think? What do you think about that as a teacher yourself?
So with the statues, I understand that that's quite a big deal to you know, the Western, the British people, just because it's been part of, it's like a structure, you know, it makes the beauty of, you know, the streets and stuff like that, which is nice, you know. It brings tourists to come and visit and take pictures and stuff.
Celebration
like that.
of their culture.
It is, I
of their
guess,
country.
yeah, you know,
Or
so
the big-
we'll give it to them since it's their country, you
Yeah.
know, they get to put up what they want to put up. But my only take on that is that you yourself, you know, you waive this whole thing about being multicultural. So at that moment where you decide to be multicultural, therefore every single aspect of your system, of, you know, of your buildings, of everything else, it needs to reflect that agenda, that ideology that you put out there. You know what I mean? So it's like, why do we still have, you know, slave owners, you know, being celebrated? What about, have a balance? What about those, you know, black people that helped to build Britain as well? Why aren't they celebrated? You know, why is there no statues of them? Correct me if I'm wrong. I've not seen a statue of a black person.
I think
on the streets in London.
I think there's Nelson Mandela one, and then there's is it Mary Seacole?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But that was something very, very recent, and people
Yeah.
had to make a big deal out of it. Why it wasn't just easily brought up, you know?
Yeah.
So, for me, the thing about the statues, you know, they did good things for the white people here. So I'm not
Give
all
it to
that
them.
far. Yeah, I'll give it to them. But I think it's important to tell the true, like the true history, like the real history, like the good and the bad about these characters. You know, whether they stay or they take them off. I'm personally not fussed about whether they're on or off. But I would like them to tell or teach people about the true story, you know,
Don't
their
brush it
history.
under the carpet. No.
Because what has been done literally is like, we'll say, you know, he's been our hero because, you know, he saved us from World War, and, you know, for example, Churchill.
Oh yeah.
You know, he was blatant racist when he was asked about, you know, freedom in African countries when they were trying to, you know, fight against colonialism and stuff. He wasn't happy about that. But he fought for the white people against the Nazis. Yeah. But it did not see the same, it didn't have the same feelings towards black people.
Yeah. Even though then there was only black people in Britain. Yeah. And it's funny you mentioned Churchill because I in history we studied World War II, and Churchill was the main figure, you know, at that time. But you know, we never got told that. We just got told he's the hero. He saved the day. You know what I mean? D-Day. You know, nothing else at all. So it's like only recently, you know, that I then discovered like, oh my goodness, this guy that I wrote really nice essays about, you know, in my history exam, praising heroic, you know, he's this person, you know, that done something amazing. Yet only if I existed then, or my parents did, he wouldn't have defended them. You know, he wouldn't have looked at me as a human. And
yet, a lot of Africans and Caribbeans and Indians as well. Fought in the World War, and there's always this separation where they have to do this specific celebration for a group, and it's kind of, for me, it's kind of a bit patronizing. You know, if we all fought, why can't we all celebrate as one? Why should we have a division where we're going to specifically celebrate this group of people who came when we all fought in the war for that? And it's something that is not taught here neither. No. Young people don't know that people actually came while we were still trying to get our own independence in Africa. You know, our men were sent over to Europe to fight in the World War. It just, for me, it buzzles me.
There's, you know, there's ceremonies like when death came to this man, did they choose? Oh, wait, white, I'm gonna come to you at 2 p.m. No, it doesn't choose. You know what I mean? Like, some of the things that we separate ourselves from, it doesn't choose whether you're black or white. It comes to all. You know what I mean? It comes to all. So why
we should be treated?
You know what I mean? So why are we treated differently? You know, they should just get the exact same honor as all these men, because when you gave them the uniform, you knew that they were black. You knew that they did not have your skin color. So therefore, when they die, you should honor them exactly the same way, because you were happy to tell them, thank you for fighting for me.
Yeah,
thank you for being here. We need you.
You're part of us.
We need you. Wear this uniform, put this on. And then when they die, you're just like, you know where to be found to celebrate them. Where is the fairness in that one?
I don't know, Yeah, so, you know, we spoke about the statues, role models, cancel culture. There's, for the group of whites and Asians, or, you know, who are fighting together with us, you know, to get this message across and change things, sometimes you find people in there who can sometimes say things without realizing that they're being quite hurtful, and you know, they tend to get attacked and be cancelled. And it's like, that's it, you're racist, without giving this person a chance to, you know, apologize and fix and be and improve and be better. So is that a right way to go with this, to deal with this?
Okay, I'm a bit split with this one here. I'm not saying that I've been going around cancelling people, that's not what I'm trying to say. But it's really tough right now. It is really tough. Personally, from my personal opinion, it's been tough. I've been really rigorous on how I deal with things right now, because it's my time to speak up. And, you know, I'm still young, I'm under 30, but I have experienced racism at work. I have experienced racism during my years of studying. So it's something that, you know, you've lived through. It's not something that's been, you know, that happened like, 1,000 years ago. No, this is something I've personally experienced.
Yeah,
Even being called the N-word in school, I have experienced that. So, so right now we are thankful that there are actually people who see this, who see this movement and validate it, and want to support us in, fighting, because everybody should be on board with this. Everybody should be. This is a human right. This is, forget about the color. This is a human right, that we are not upholding. So, everybody should be on board. But all I'm trying to say in terms of this whole cancellation thing is that when something has happened to you for so long, something that just really put you down, belittled you, there's no way you've finally been given a voice to speak out on it and then have a way of controlling your reaction. Let's be sensible here.
Okay.
Let's be sensible. This is my time to speak. Just let me be for now. Let me feel my emotions. If you come to me whilst, I'm still emotional, I'm still trying to understand what's going on, not just to me, but to a lot of people that look like me and what could potentially happen to my own family, it's a lot to handle. It is a lot to handle. So if they get a reaction that is not appropriate from a black person, they should not try to, they should just let that reaction happen, only because they need to speak it out. The emotions need to come out, all that negativity needs to be spat out so you have room for healing.
But with that, let's say if I was the person and I said something a bit out of the way, a bit wrong and stuff, and you reacted, that would kind of scare me. I'm like, oh God, no.
I have to confess. So recently I had a conversation with a friend of mine. Well, they put up something. So, they put up something speaking up about, the things that's going on wrong, religious, discrimination, prejudice and all sorts. And then at the end of this nice paragraph she wrote hashtag all lives matter.
Yeah.
I must say, I did get upset. And I really wanted to react, but I was like, no, that's my friend.
Yeah.
I shouldn't, get angry at them. And just so many times I drafted a message. I was like, right, I need to speak to them because what they're doing is not right. But what I had to do for myself is take the time out, leave the message, and then come back to it and then speak to them, pull them up on it. Because I just knew that if I directly spoke to them, it's, my reaction would have not been a positive one. But then I took the time out, and then the next day I came back to it, and I explained to them, I told them that, oh, your message was lovely, but I just need to pull you up on something.
Yeah.
I understand why people are going around cancelling people, because you can only imagine there is so much that black people still need to learn. There is so much that, we don't know ourselves. So this time around, you've been given a platform, to talk about, to put down all the things you think is wrong. And then now someone else is coming to you and saying, oh, so, saying something that will only add salt to the wound. You're just like, oh my goodness, what are you doing? This is not the time right now. So I can only understand why that reaction is happening. But I don't encourage it. We do need to have the conversation. Conversation needs to happen, and it needs to be the conversation that that leads to positive action. So we know what's next. We're changing the narratives. So we need to have these dialogues with our white friends, our Asian friends. Explain to them what we know. But what they need to understand is that don't just come with a statement. Don't just come with, oh, I heard. Oh, is it? No. Do some research. Find out. Okay, and then come back to me so we can have that information as well. It's not just on me to teach you. You need to do the teaching too, because at the end of the day, what you found out, you can then teach your family, and so it spreads.
Yeah.
You get what I mean?
Yeah.
So I understand why black people are doing that. I can only understand because I feel like I almost fell in the trap of being like, I'm deleting your number.
Yes, I've recently had the experience as well with a lady I work with, and she's on my Facebook, and we're friends on Facebook. And she did the same. She wrote something, and it was because of what happened in Reading recently, and she went on back then, and she said, you know, all lives matter and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, how are you mixing it? And then, you know, obviously she posted, if you don't like it, delete me. And literally, I was about to delete her, but I thought, if this is the way we're going to behave, it's not going to lead her to a positive future, you know. And instead, I'd rather wait for an opportunity where I can sit her down and have a decent conversation, because I obviously understand, like, I don't want to see white people being randomly killed on the street. Nobody wants it. I don't want to see anyone being randomly killed anywhere. Nobody wants that. No decent human being wants that. But you know, they're just bad and good. You know, another thing that I want to touch base is parents with young children. Please, please, please do not expose your negative racist behavior around children, because children pick up on their surrounding, and then they will act or react, like they said. I've worked with children, you know, and basically they will react whatever happens around them. And what happened is that they don't go to school and they treat their friends in that manner. So if you're a parent with racist behavior and you're doing it, sometimes you don't even realize you're doing it, but you're doing it, but you do it in front of your child, they will go on and repeat it. And then what you get is another child having to go home and stuff, and have parents, you know, in the black community always have to tell their children, you know, sometimes their people don't like you because of the color of your skin. And I just want to tell people out there, it's not a pleasant thing. That I know a lot of parents in the black community, it's not what we want to tell our children. You know, we encourage them to be respectful of adults, especially in African culture. You're taught to respect others. Being respectful towards other people and towards grown-ups and whatnot. You know, the education at home, our parents tend to be very, very strict about certain things. So, and then having to change and say, listen, there are people out there who won't like you just because of the way you look or the color of your skin. It is not the thing. It's very painful. I know from a close friend of mine who recently had to explain, you know, the situation because her daughter was having an issue in school with another child, you know. And she had to explain this to her daughter, and then the daughter ended up having a nightmare. And then there was this whole Black Lives Matter protest going on. And she's like, Mommy, why are they saying that? And she, you know, we don't really know how to tell the children in an understandable way, but we have to. And it's not pleasant. It's not nice.
It's just like taking away their innocence. It's like we're not letting children be children. Like, that's not the conversation that should be worried about. But like, these are the kind of topic I had with my friends as well. So, you know, in light of all that's happened, as a black man, he just said that, you know, so when I have children, I need to have these conversations with them. You know, and it's quite scary, and you know, us potentially becoming mothers in the future. You know, we need to consider these things, and it is honestly scary because starting life, you know, we don't want to worry about it. You know, sometimes, you know, I think we do okay, you know, not to let this take over our life. Absolutely. But there's only to a certain extent you can ignore all these things. You know, even if as much as you're trying to stay positive, sometimes in your mind you'll just see something on social media and it'll get you thinking. It's like, oh my gosh, like, is this really it? And you know, and then, you know, wanting to go to, you know, a holiday to the US, you're thinking twice. I'm just like, I'm not sure I actually want to go.
I've got two brothers, and I tell them day and night, every time there's some new police brutality case in the US, I always tell them, the day you will tell me that you're going on holiday to the US, I will cry as if you've died, because it's scary. Because this is what you worry about. You know, we have to always think, like, I like to visit, I like to travel and stuff, but I know there's certain places, certain countries in Europe, for example, I wouldn't even dare, because I know that my skin color is not welcome.
It's a problem.
It's a problem, exactly, you know. But there are places that I like exploring different cultures. You know, it doesn't have to be African, it doesn't have to be black. I'm open to literally different things, and I find that a lot of my friends are too. But that constant, can I really go there?
Yeah.
If every time you have to do something, that's what you have to think about. It is the problem,
Yeah. And then so you just become daring, you become strong, and you're just like, do you know what? I just gotta do it.
Yeah.
If I don't do it, then I'll never live.
Yeah.
And then for people that see you're always strong, you're always doing all these things, and they're like, oh, like, she never has to worry about anything. She doesn't have problems.
But
it's like you don't know half of the stories that you don't know half of the times I've been ignored. You don't know half of the times I have to look at my hair and say that can I really turn up to work like this? You don't know all these things. How much I have to always make sure my qualifications are intact, to make sure that I am always on track, making sure that I'm doing
you're
my best.
You're
the best of the best. Like, have a clean sheet, because you're just worried that if anything is there, it might just ruin everything that you spend time building. You need to make sure you get your A's, make sure you get, a degree from a great university, because you feel like that will help your chances in life.
Surprise, and then you
so it will sort of help you, get your footing in whatever career or whatever you want to do. And so, like, just what you said about exploring, it is important for people to explore, because at the end of the day, we are human.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm a human being. Before we start categorizing this whole black, white, Asian, yellow, blue, you're human first.
Absolutely.
So if you're human first, therefore we do deserve to, everybody should have the same human rights. I know life is all about, working hard and everything like that, yes, but at the same time, I might actually...
It's about enjoying as well.
Yeah.
You've got to leave,
So I'm human, that's all.
I know,
human,
and then that's all we ask for everyone.
I'm human, that's all.
So, last topic, I'm thinking, I'm not thinking, the relationship between the black community and the police has gone down the drain. Like, it's literally yesterday. Some places people are talking about defunding the police. So do you think that there's a chance somewhere? Is there a way we can fix this relationship? Should we defund the police? What do you?
Well, it is not a straightforward question. I personally think I'm not really knowledgeable in that area in terms of like the police and stuff, but in what we see and what we hear, definitely there's something wrong there.
Yeah,
there's definitely something wrong there. But at the same time, fixing a system
that's been there for
years, many years, and that did not consider maybe one day there will be a lot of differences in the UK. It's quite difficult. We do need security, and there's a justice system, and law is built in place, for people to follow, and to help to keep the society running and keep some order. That's why we got all this, the police helping, putting in place the laws and the order and stuff like that. Are they doing it the best? I don't know if it's it's not being done right, because black people are feeling targeted, and statistics shows that they are targeted. So something needs to be done. I don't know whether defunding the police will help, because at the end of the day, it is something the society still needs. You know what I mean? We still need some sort of security. It's not just security for the big things, just the small things, keeping order from theft, and all of these things. We do need someone in authority that is running these things like that. I don't know what's the best way to go in this. It would need like a thorough discussion with someone that is actually knows the system like the back of their hands. But definitely there's something wrong in there, and I feel like the relationship, I don't think is there. And especially with the stop and search that they used to do, a lot of black people were targeted. We're not just saying that, and I could understand why they feel the need to search it, but I feel it needs to also be balanced. Exactly, it needs to be balanced.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You need to understand the community that you're trying to help. You know what I mean? If there should be not just defunding the police, but we should also consider putting things in place within black community to help, to uplift, you know, to put in, you know, to fill in the gaps that could probably help better the people within that community, and maybe perhaps that could bring a better balance.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that is.
Absolutely, yeah. I always say, like, there are bits that, you know, there are parts that we can fix as a community. There are things that we can fix, this work that we can do ourselves, because there is a lot of work that needs doing, and but at the same time, I don't want the police to take the negative bits in our community as an excuse to brutalize every single black person they see, or you know. So yeah,
that one is definitely not right.
Yeah, a good healthy balance.
Stereotype, you know, stereotyping is just the worst. You see a black person, you think that even it's not just, you know, the other ethnic group. Think about it, we do too. You might be walking down the street.
Yes, that is true.
That is how bad, you know. That is how, you know, it is so built in the system. You know, you see a black person with a hoodie, you assume they are criminal, they are going to hurt you. They're like the worst person walking on earth right now. How dare you?
Exactly.
What gives you that right to, you know, to stereotype the person that way? You know, so...
But it's so much so that even we started doing it to ourselves.
We do it to ourselves. Oh yeah. We can't say that, oh, you never see a black person, you know...
And then you feel like crossing the road. We just crossed the side.
Or you see someone driving a nice car that they're looking at, and you start thinking,
what do you do? Yes.
Do I do business?
Yes, there's that. Like, when you think there's no systematic racism, this is what it is. Part of it is that, like, no black person can drive a nice car. There was a time even, you know, unless you're like a famous sports star or something, but if you're a regular Joe, just happens to have a good job and you're earning good money and you're living comfortably, you've got your nice car, and you're being stopped by the police, or even people on the road that look like you're like, what are you doing?
They'll look at you twice. How come are you able to afford a house?
Yeah, it's like
they're questioning
absolutely,
you.
Yeah. You know,
it's quite crazy.
The stuff with the names as well. There was a time, like I know when I first got here, you know, people were complaining, black people were complaining, especially ones with, you know, African background with African names. You know, they said they had to use or change their names, you know, make it more English sounding so they can they can have jobs. And so all of these things is I think it's changed from then. I've never felt the need of changing my name, and I've had plenty of interviews and stuff, you know. So I would never change my name.
My name as well. So we obviously it's quite similar. So Diana, but back home you call me Diana. So it has a similarity of spelling. So I've not had that trouble. Maybe they still think that that looks like a familiar.
But it's the surname though. Like you know, my surname is very African. Tangata. It's like, okay, you are not white. You know, I can have the Elizabeth, but you know, Tangata is not white. But I've never felt like that's been like a barrier for myself or my brothers, or you know, I don't think. So that is it for today. Thank you so much for coming, for joining us. Yes. Forgot to introduce herself in the beginning, guys. Please do tell what you do and why. The reason why I brought you here is because you work in education. She's a teacher. She also works in the community. And so we all want to improve our communities and bring the best out of us out there. Actually, thank you. So I'm Diana Casa. So I'm a secondary school teacher teaching French and Spanish. So like she basically said, I am into education, you know, helping the community as much as I can, because, you know, the change begins with us. Absolutely. The change begins with us, and there's that African proverb that I honestly love. If you want to go far, go together. So that togetherness will help us. It will help change, I keep repeating this, change the narrative, because
you know, we can change the narrative. Us being here having the conversation, the fact that, you know, we're able to unite and, you know, still have different opinions. We don't need to agree on everything, but
we
the fact
work
that
together
exactly,
towards the same,
you know, towards the same goal. So I really encourage about that working together because it will take us far. So thank you for having me. It's been an interesting conversation. Like I said, I think, you know, the Black Lives Matter movement really has given a lot of people a platform. Personally, for me, it's given me a platform to speak up, especially, you know, what we heard with Mama Billy Mujinga.
From
London, so that's quite close to home, her being Congolese. So it's given us a platform to speak up and you know start, you know, looking at ourselves, reflecting on the things we have allowed and maybe the things we shouldn't allow anymore, you know, from now on, you know, what can we do different? How can I speak up and not be afraid, you know, to worry about what's going to happen to me? So you know, driving the change within our community in any way we can. So I'm really encouraging this, and so thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you. So thank you guys. Don't forget to like and leave a comment or subscribe to our channel, and we'll see you again next week.
Et ce que tu as fait à la croix, tu as pris mon fardeau, tu t'es donné un sacrifice pour que moi j'ai la vie, je trouve les chemins, la vérité. Non, 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 je ne peux plus porter seul mon fardeau. Non, 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 je ne peux plus être encore esclave du péché. Les souffrances de ma vie, à la croix je les amène. Les montagnes sur mon chemin, devant toi je les dépose. Abba, Abba, Papa, Abba, Abba. J'ai parlé comme un enfant, j'ai pensé, raisonné, comme un enfant je faisais tout. Une fois devenu adulte, je me suis défait de cela. À tous ceux qui l'ont reçu comme Seigneur et comme Sauveur, tu les as donné le pouvoir de devenir enfant de Dieu. Non, 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 je ne peux plus rentrer dans ma vie d'avant. Non, 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 je ne peux plus servir de maître à la fois. Mon combat de tous les jours, c'est de vivre dans ta crainte. Les erreurs de mon passé, que ton sang les efface. Abba, Abba, Abba.